Welcome to Goddess Behavior, the podcast where ancient myths meets modern main character energy.
We're your hosts, Steph and Laura.
No textbooks, just great stories, hot takes, and some unhinged ancient audacity.
So pour a drink, fix your crown, and step into your mythic era. This is Goddess Behavior.
Okay,
All right.
episode 11.
Yeah, a fun one.
Yeah, I think this one kind of came to us naturally after the last one. We're like, okay, where in the U.S. can we go next? Because I think we really enjoyed like diving into that side of it.
And more sort of culturally land focused.
Yeah, which I think immediately goes for folklore. Just the way it goes.
Yeah, it does.
So where are we going today?
We are going to the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, your neck of the woods, if you will.
Yes. So I grew up in the Valley of Virginia. So I have the Shenandoahs on one side and the Appalachians on the other side. And
I only know like the very end of the Appalachians, to be honest with you, but it's where I got married. I got married in Nashville. It's a little bit different, I feel like, than kind of what we've talked about. I mean, I can see how the stories relate, but I feel like, you know, it's such a long mountain range that it could vary depending on where you're sitting.
But it's all fun for me. I think like diving into this, there were definitely things there that I remember as a kid. Didn't think anything of it.
Sure, because that's what you're born.
And then I read about it and I'm like, oh,
that's what that is.
So that's the fun thing about these Appalachian tales is that they're a little spooky.
Yeah.
But to a child, I was just like, oh, yeah, okay, right.
Sure.
Not going to go
Makes
do that.
Sense. I'm not
good.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they serve their purpose then.
Yeah,
right?
they did.
I mean, that's what these stories are for. They're to, you know, keep people from doing stupid things, right?
Yeah.
Warning signs, right?
Making a mistake that could be deadly.
Yes.
You know?
So while they're not necessarily as spooky as they would be on paper, you know, like they're spookier on paper than they are in real life, but it makes the woods eerie and have a life of its own.
And it gives them, it gives them sort of
it's like a character in itself.
Right.
As we were talking about the Appalachians, where are they, Laura? Because I think we gave a little bit of a preview just now, but I think we need to definitely put it on the map. So
the Appalachian Mountains stretch really far, right?
Yeah.
It's there.
I didn't realize,
long
honestly.
range of mountains. Literally, I think you can find them Alabama up to Maine. So Appalachian culture is really big and vast. And it refers to basically like the central and southern highlands. So West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia.
It's funny you say Alabama. I don't think of Alabama as having mountains.
Yeah, it's not.
But it does get hilly.
It's just up. It's up north. Northern Alabama.
Northern Alabama,
closer to Tennessee.
I was going to say I've driven Nashville to Huntsville, which is like northern Alabama,
mountains.
And it is not hilly. It's just not mountains, if you will.
So
kind of like Atlanta is. Atlanta's not mountains; it's hills.
Right.
So it's similar parallel.
But it's something to remember is that these mountains are really old.
Yes.
So old that is why they are rounded. So they are not like cliffy like the mountains on the West Coast.
Right.
So we are talking about a different range of mountains, even visually.
Which is like, that is like the craziest thing to me.
Yeah.
So,
not that those mountains aren't old too.
No, yeah.
But these are so old.
I had seen this video talking about how the Appalachians and the Scottish Highlands match up, like from back prehistoric, time.
When we were connected.
Yeah, which is like so crazy to me because when you are in the Appalachians, I don't not get that vibe. So it's funny how it gives off the same feeling. And it feels so old and like it has its life of its own. It's cool.
I mean, and a lot of the traditions, as we'll get into, overlap here. Is the Scots settled my area of Virginia. So
and, I mean, it makes sense why they felt at home. Right? Isn't that so? Because they probably didn't realize that was the case until so much later, you know?
But it's definitely a thing that you see present as we'll get into it, but it translates. So you see this really fun mixture of the Scots and indigenous, and others here, even African cultures and traditions that are seen in one area, and
it definitely influences the folklore a lot because you get a lot of different things going on at the same time.
And we're gonna see that. So it's fun.
So essentially we have like this cultural layering happening.
Definitely.
The Cherokee and other indigenous nations had deep roots in this area, the Iroquois, the Shawnee, and the Choctaw. In the 18th century, the Scots and the Irish Presbyterians flooded into the backcountry, bringing ballads, fairy lore, and bone-deep suspicion of outsiders.
Yeah, that's definitely something that translates to today. If you go into those mountains, they know who's from there and who's not.
For sure.
They do. And
I can imagine.
My dad still does. Like, he can tell you where you're from if you give him a last name.
Oh, that's so funny.
Or
that's
if he can hear you speak.
Yeah. That's so funny.
So that is very much still a thing.
So you also have the enslaved and freed Black communities contributing to this conjure of cultures, blues roots, and storytelling form. Right. You also have German settlers adding into their own supernatural catalog from the Black Forest. So you have a lot of different things mixing together and creating this melting pot, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And all of this gets pressed together in the same hollers and creek beds.
Absolutely.
What's a holler, Laura?
So a holler is a narrow valley between mountains. So I guess you could say that I grew up in one.
Yeah,
which is fun. It's something that, like, I don't know. I think I've heard my dad say, but it was never something that I
thought of it as
thought too much about.
It's just part of your dialogue
it's how those communities were separated. So like one holler to another holler.
Right. Yeah.
Your holler was your community.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appalachian communities kept alive the Elizabethan English ballads, pre-Reformation folk magic, and indigenous place spirit traditions that had been suppressed or forgotten almost everywhere else. The mountains served as more like a living archive.
Right, yeah. Well, and that's an interesting thing too, because like a lot of people left Europe for religious or
they were usually fleeing.
For some kind of, not persecution over there necessarily, but just having to hide their, the way that they wanted to live. And this is a great example of how all this stuff kind of came back up to the surface of like, oh, I'm allowed to talk about this again. So now I can share this with my family, and it's not, I don't get, persecuted for it or have an issue with it, or people being like, oh, I don't like that. So, which is all what America is about. So it's pretty cool to see it
even
in this way.
That early.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so what we see is Appalachian folklore is not primitive superstition or regional novelty. It is a fully formed mythological tradition, born from the collision of sort of the Cherokee, the Scots-Irish, African, Elizabethan, English cultures, and one of the most geographically isolated landscapes in North America. The mountains didn't just preserve these stories, they transformed them into something new. And again, that's how they are still living on today.
For sure.
So it's really cool.
Yeah. And like every creature that haunts these hollers and every granny witch brewing remedies by the fire, every restless haint scratching at a cabin wall is a goddess logic story in disguise. A community making sense of death, power, and natural world, and women who knew how to move between all three. So there's a lot of parallel, again, between folklore from other areas. And as we were just talking about, it was all brought over. So it's not coming from nowhere, but it's a whole nother thing in itself.
And it gets adapted. So so they're bringing and it gets adapted. I would say they were, at least for the Scots, right? They were sort of used to living in those communities,
isolated kind of
where
place.
They were on farmlands.
For sure.
But this was different, and so it adapted as they did.
Yeah, for sure.
To survive, honestly. And the people who lived in these mountains did tell stories constantly. Cherokee communities had long understood the land as spiritually inhabited, not empty wilderness. So what we were talking about last week.
There's like this living relationship with the people and the land.
Yeah. The mountains, rivers, caves, forests, these were places with memory, power, and rules. Then later, Scots and other European settlers arrived carrying their own folklore traditions, so their fairy lore, death omens, spirit stories, warnings, even with the woods. Over generations, these beliefs all sort of blended together into a uniquely eerie,
for sure,
deeply symbolic folklore that we now still associate with the Appalachians.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think what's fascinating is how many of these stories like revolve around behavior. It's not just about um like it's like don't whistle at night or don't follow the strange lights into the woods, right?
Yeah.
So it feels very like superstitious, right?
It does.
It's not just folklore stories in like a this is the tale of. It's like
In
this
like,
is why we shouldn't do it like from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole
they're
premise
like,
of it and you're like
don't
okay,
be
but why?
potty. Yeah.
And if something calls your name from the trees, no,
it
it
didn't.
didn't.
No, it didn't.
Don't wander too far. Don't assume that you're out there by yourself. So it's a lot of uh, jumping to the point
Yeah.
instead of a lot of these older folk stories where it's like a whole thing about what's happened and blah, blah, blah. And then it tells you why not to. This is like from the get-go.
Yeah, mythology gives you, like what we saw with Scotty, right? How she was up in the woods, in the mountains, and she was supposed to be like a comforting presence up there. Like she was meant to be there with you, not scary.
Right. This is
These
not the other
stories
way.
are not that.
This is not
These
that,
stories
no.
are very quick to be like, hey, don't do that.
Exactly.
These creatures or this presence is not meant to be messed with. And we're serious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right from the get-go. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the woods are dangerous.
I mean,
in many different ways, and I think they do a really good job of encompassing all of the different dangers that come with that, right?
And it makes you wonder, like, how many people were lost in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
Or lost to the woods or to the land, to the mountains, whatever it was, in caves.
Yeah, I mean, things, happen so quickly.
That they couldn't explain,
yeah,
too.
That's not, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where all these folklore stories come from is the unexplainable, right?
Right.
And yeah, so folklore transforms survival knowledge into memorable stories to make it easy to,
prevent these things. I mean, I think
happening,
in a place where you're trying to start anew, you don't need your population declining right off the bat.
Yeah, it's hard enough with a harsh winter or famine of some kind or having to learn how to adapt to the land in general, right? Just feeding yourselves or sheltering yourselves, like all of those things are new to them. And if they are not necessarily going to the natives to help, it becomes problematic, right?
Yeah.
And you have to heed these warnings in order to stay safe.
And I think it speaks to the direness of the situation that they were feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why these folklore stories still resonate the way that they do. Modern life has disconnected from nature so much that it feels even spookier than it probably should, right?
Yeah.
I think when you're more in tune with nature, like you live in it, it feels less probably spooky. But because a lot of us don't live in a deep wooded area like this, it becomes the unknown becomes the scary thing, right?
I think it's like what we were talking about last week, how like when there's a mutual respect with your land, it's less scary, right? Because you're understanding why the land might respond in that way,
right?
But when there's knowledge,
if there is a disconnect, then it's spooky.
Then you're scared.
You're like, why is this happening? Yeah, maybe deep down part of us believes that these stories are trying to reach or to teach us all along that the land remembers, right?
Yeah.
And maybe in this case, the mountains too.
Yeah, I think it's definitely safe to say. I mean, I would even say the water remembers.
Yeah,
I think the water demands respect too, So it's a fun way to sort of move from our land remembers to the mountains remember.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I think one of the stories that I found super cool was the little people of Appalachia, right? So one of the most fascinating things about Appalachian folklore is, again, all of these different things mashing together, right?
Yep.
And you end up having these similar stories that overlap, right? From traditions overseas to here, right? And stories about hidden beings, right? About people or places you shouldn't disturb, about rules you shouldn't break, about the feeling that the mountains inhabited something older than you. And one of the clearest examples of that is the Cherokee tradition of the Inuit June City, often translated as the little people.
Little people who were here first.
Yeah. So cute. Before this episode, we looked up what they look like, and they're so cute.
They look like little dolls I used to have, honestly.
We'll put a picture here. I don't know how, but I'm going to try.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
We're working on that because we did get the feedback that we need visuals.
It's a good visual. Would be a good visual, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just come off exactly what you pictured them to be like.
Yeah. So deep in the rocky crevices of the Appalachian Mountains, in the caves along the river bends, and the dense thickets where light doesn't quite reach, there has always been movement just at the edge of sight. The Cherokee call them the little people. Uinweejun City, about knee-high to an adult. And they're supposed to be invisible, so it's like, okay. Sometimes if you are patient and respectful and very still, they let themselves be seen.
Feels like a brownie.
It does feel like a brownie. Yeah, just like
which is Scottish, so it's funny. There's parallels there a little bit of these little humans.
It's interesting that they would put, again, a little human that demands respect.
Yeah. And it's funny too because it's like they're again matching up with these people who are the natives of this land.
Yeah,
and these mountain ranges match up. It's just such a crazy, right?
Yeah,
the parallel, not even on purpose.
But when you think of Cherokees and Scots, you think very different people,
totally different, but not
the
really.
The truth is that the stories are very similar.
Yeah, for sure.
It's fun. I like it.
I like
Actually,
it too.
It's very cool.
They're the first beings to inhabit the land. And before they were here before human memory begins. They spend half their time drumming and dancing, and if you venture into the mountains at night, you may hear it. Drums in the distance, and what might be singing, and something that sounds like whispered laughter through the trees. Like, that sounds fun, right?
It does. Yeah, you're like, oh. Huh.
So there's one simple rule. Don't go looking for them. It's bad luck.
And that makes sense, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
It's even worse than bad luck. If you stumble into their community by accident, you must leave immediately and tell no one that you saw them for 7 days, or you'll lose your mind. So if you stumble upon it by accident, it's okay. You just can't tell anybody.
Yeah,
that you
just
saw
don't
them.
say anything. Yeah. You saw it? No, you didn't.
Or you go crazy.
I wonder how many people they had accidentally wander into the mountains, see something they weren't supposed to.
Oh, and that's then 1,000%
like literally justify it by being like, no, they lost their minds.
Crazy.
They're crazy. Meanwhile, the person's like
about tiny people.
The person's like, no, I saw it. I did. I can picture it. I'm just saying.
Totally. The Cherokee Sane Asylum.
Yeah. But these little people are not only dangerous, they are deeply generous to those who earn it. So again, it's giving brownies.
It's giving brownies, for sure.
A Cherokee hunter lost in a storm with night coming on might find himself guided back to his village by a figure he can barely see. A family.
So they're like a light in the dark.
Yeah. And then, so a family going hungry before the harvest might wake to find their corn gathered. A child in danger will often find a small hand pulling them back from the cliff's edge or away from the water. The little people are especially protective of children, which is, I think we see that, we've seen that other places too, where they're meant to guide children or be like stories for children.
Right.
And children are more sensitive to these things too. So I
love the idea of they're like in the woods watching and like keeping an eye on things without necessarily interfering, especially with a kid, right?
Yeah.
It makes me think of Aylin. Oh
I know. Now I'm like Aylin with her little people.
Yeah, I'm literally reading it right now, and it's just like it's nice. It's also like a comforting thing. So like, again, it can come off scary if you don't know what it is, but if you do know how they function, right, then you're like, no, they're out there looking out for you too. Yeah. So it's a comforting thing in the woods.
And I think to a child, they would see that little person and be like, oh, hey, little person.
Yeah, exactly. You're like me.
Yeah. I don't think
Can you imagine Blaze? Hi.
Like, oh. It would be so cute.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, the little people are being especially protective of children and especially merciless to those who disrespect them or their land is good.
I think that makes sense.
I'm like, that tracks based on everything we've read.
Just tread on my lawn.
And little people in other places behave the same way. Yeah. Sure. So, I mean, we're just seeing that again in Appalachia.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So there are 3 kinds of little people. The dogwood people, they're good-natured, gentle, and most likely to offer help, associated with healing and with the forest's generosity.
Which makes sense. Dogwood is a very prevalent type of tree in
this
area.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
okay.
When it flowers, so pretty.
It's beautiful,
Yes.
right? And the laurel people, so they're tricksters.
Yes.
They'll lead you in circles, hide your tools, tie knots in your hair while you sleep. Mischievous, but rarely malicious. So it's giving like an elf
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. For sure.
They're testing you more than harming you.
Right. Yes. Again, trickster energy, right? Coyote-ish. And the rock people, the ones that you do not want to cross, they live in the deepest, darkest crevices, and they punish disrespect harshly and permanently. And if you take from a place that belongs to them, they take something back.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Sounds right.
An eye for an eye.
Yeah, I think again that this is another very primitive rule we're seeing here.
Yeah.
That's law and order right there.
1,000%.
Yeah, that's fine. Makes sense to
again,
me.
like you said, very old school way of doing it, but yeah, for sure.
So these little people are not a metaphor. They are active spiritual entities in Cherokee tradition. Elders still speak of them in present tense, and this is a living belief system.
Right.
It's not a dead legend.
Right. I mean, I think you see them come across so many different Native American tradition. You see it in the Algonquin tradition, the Cree tradition, and then we see it like we were saying in the Celtic, the Norse, the West African traditions. All these, everybody has a little people. It's just
it's a lot of cross-cultural things happening here, and I think that's another piece that makes it so compelling or like convincing here is that it's like, okay, why are we seeing these little people show up everywhere?
Yeah, it's like the whole that's why I'm convinced mermaids are real. I'm gonna say it right now because 1, the ocean is very vast and we don't know enough about it, and 2, every corner of the earth has a story about mermaids. Every corner of it.
Yeah, you see them
anywhere
everywhere.
with water.
That's true.
Talks about mermaids, inclling this area, which I sent you that video about, which I thought was so interesting.
I've heard before about
it's
in
the
corner in North Carolina. Yeah.
And apparently there are mermaids there. And I was like, that's super cool. The Cape Fear River, where it starts, there are stories of mermaids. And
there's a whole lore in that area that we can happily get into.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's definitely like many different types of stories that are repetitive, but those are the ones that feel the most real and why they stick around because they just have so much evidence, backing it up.
Yeah.
There's too much.
And it's like with Melusine, right? As I saw her, I chose the French version, but truthfully, she shows up
in many different areas.
In a lot of places. Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of coastal European towns.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool about folklore because I think there is more overlap than there is in myth because myth can vary so much that I think it's fun to see the folklore. It's where you're like, oh, this relates to this thing that I know, and instead of it feels more relatable sometimes where somebody else's mythology might feel harder to connect to.
Well, because again, mythology is written for the big fancy textbook and folklore is written for the people. So it's really a fun way where people across the globe could feel more connected in that way. Yeah.
So the Yunwi Junsidi embody the principle that runs through the entire episode, that the land is not empty. And it's
also not neutral.
Yeah, not neutral. It is inhabited by powers that predate human settlement and will probably outlast it. Respect is not optional. It's the price of living in proximity to the sacred. This is the same theology that underlies the granny witch, the haint, and the monster that lives on the edge of the forest. The mountains were already full before anyone else arrived to tell the stories about them.
So fun. Yes. Yeah, it's so fun. Again, for us, I put a lot of value in these primitive individuals because they are so underserved and most people don't get to hear about them. No, so I'm excited to talk about these people.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yes, so the granny witch.
the Granny Witch is our healer, midwife. She gives like liminal goddess.
Yeah, for sure.
So some of the other individuals we've already brought up. And she is sort of this maternal figure who holds everything together.
Right.
So if you picture a mountain community in like the 1840s, the nearest doctor, I mean, the nearest doctor is a day's ride out.
Right. Yeah.
I remember living in my little tiny town and the Walmart, we had to drive up the mountain anytime my mom wanted to go to Walmart. It's like, and that was a whole thing.
Yeah, sure.
But when the doctor, like when you're really sick and the doctor is a 2 days ride away, that's going to be really bad. Yeah. Imagine going into labor and your doctor being that far away.
Not. It was bad enough that I was like,
the 20-minute drive was bad enough.
I was induced. I was like, I can't handle this unpredictability. I can't do it anymore.
It's too much. So when a woman goes into labor, difficult, dangerous. Yeah. I mean, especially back then, someone goes to fetch this granny woman. Mm-hmm. She arrives with a bundle of dried herbs, black cohosh to help contractions, slippery elm for pain, pennyroyal for what comes after. She recites Psalm 91 to call for confidence, basically, over the mother. She reads the clouds for what kind of spirit the child might carry into the world. She stays until the baby breathes, names what needs to be named, and leaves before dawn. She is not a witch in like a storybook sense.
No, she's a healer. That's the best way to put it, which of course becomes a witch, and a witch has a bad connotation in our modern time. But like we talked about in Triple Goddess, a witch is not a bad thing. It's just
they're misunderstood.
It's the word that is being used and then has been given this negative connotation. A witch is just the name for who they are. Like that's how you encompass it, right?
Truly. And granny witches were seen in a lot of these communities. And sometimes they're granny woman or powwow woman or the wise, right? So these primary healers and midwives and spiritual guides of isolated Appalachian communities. And their practice was a layered fusion. So we have the Scot-Irish folk magic and herbalism. So, making things from the land. Think Outlander, really. Shaped by contact with the Cherokee plant knowledge.
Right.
And then threaded through with sort of the Protestant scriptures.
Yeah.
So
this is a great example of how all of these things came together.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it sounds nice.
Yeah. It's like,
well, if I don't have modern medicine, I want the granny witch.
100%. Can I have both?
Or both? Oh, yeah.
I like both.
Ooh, maybe this is a business.
Both makes me feel good.
Yes. I want the epidural and I also want sage.
I don't want the epidural, but give me all the herbs.
Yes.
They healed sickness, talked out burns, removed hexes, predicted weather, divined water with forked dogwood branches, and delivered both babies and the dead.
So she encompasses like the whole life cycle, right? Again, very Triple Goddess behavior.
Very Triple Goddess behavior. Yeah, it's very cool. What's funny is, again, as a child, this there was a
granny witch.
So I didn't, but I had heard stories of the granny witch that lived on top of the mountain. Mm-hmm. So we used to go up to the parkway to pick apples.
Yep.
And just to hike. Like it's really pretty up there. Yeah. And there were stories of this woman who lived in a cabin that's like what she did. And most people, it was
my retirement plan
told to be like a spooky story.
Yeah.
But there was like a little shop attached to her hut where you could buy these things.
Oh, I love that.
And so now in my head, I'm like, oh, she was the granny witch.
Yeah, totally.
And I didn't, as a kid, I just thought she was cool. I was like, right, but in Scotland.
Yes. Oh,
with a castle.
Yes. With
we're dreaming big.
With a shop.
Yes.
And a library.
Big. It doesn't have to be a giant castle, but we need a library and we need a shop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a bar.
And a bar.
Preferably. Oh my gosh. One of our kids will have to do that.
Yeah, we'll let Bronson and Owen run the bar.
Yeah.
Parker and Blaze can run the bookshop.
Oh, that would be so cute.
We'll be the witchy women.
Yes. Yeah.
And we can have a black dog. And it can be great.
We can have I want an Irish wolfhound. Can we have one of those?
It's the original
Scottish deerhound.
That's the original black dog.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that
anyway.
too. Yeah, the tradition has roots in ancient Scots and Irish customs carried to Appalachia as early as the 16th century. So again, predating our country, right? But it became something distinctly its own through indigenous and African American influence. So again, the layering of all these different ideas, which is really interesting because it's, again, you in isolation, you have no choice but to blend together, right?
Yeah, for survival.
For survival,
Yeah. I love that America being what it is.
Yeah, it makes me happy to think about that, right?
Wow, even primitively, we were working together to sort of solve or address a need, an issue.
I think we did that a lot better a long time ago. I mean, there are a lot of different examples that I can think of where that's the case. I mean, like rock and roll music came from soul music.
Yes, totally.
Which is like, it's an interesting, there's no mythology maybe connection or folklore connection. Maybe there is. We can try
But I mean, we have the music and the art that show that, for sure.
Exactly. It all starts to intermix, and I think that's where we've divided up again. And it's funny how that happens, right? Yeah. So granny magic was an oral tradition rarely taught outside of immediate family and never to outsiders. Again, no outsiders allowed.
Yeah, that's very Appalachia.
Much of the knowledge died with the practitioners, making it a broken history, which in itself is mythologically poignant. So interesting. Like, the practitioners used divination, tea leaves, coffee grounds, cards, cloud patterns, and scrying in water bowls. Some were believed to work with the fairy folk, so again, these little people, or ancestral spirits. Others were devout Christians, and they used their healing as a work of God. And the two things coincided with zero contradiction in this mountain culture, which I think is so fascinating, because in so many other places that would be such a big
problem.
No-no.
Yeah, it would be a war.
Yeah, that really makes it super unique.
Very.
It's very, I can't even wrap my head around how that works, because it's so,
it seems contradictory.
Yeah.
But to them, they were like, okay,
whatever
my
works.
mind,
amen.
It's like, all right, whatever works. Like, just, I don't want to die. Like,
yeah, well, get it. I get it.
I
mean, we'll call it to whoever wants to help.
Honestly, I just think that, I mean, I can't speak to a specific instance of this, but in my head, I like the idea of sort of working together for the common good here. And that's what you see with this.
For sure.
Yeah. The distinction between the good granny and the bad witch, right? Someone who would curse you or hex, mirrors the triple goddess's own dual nature. So both nurturing and destructive if they chose to be, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because there are plenty of ways where maybe Granny Witch is tired of your
shit.
Yeah, like, or maybe she knows that you've wronged someone, or maybe you've wronged her.
Yeah.
You know,
like, or maybe
the power's in her hands,
or maybe she's treated somebody who has been done wrong too, and then she's like, well, who did it?
Yeah,
I got something for that too.
A little vengeful.
Exactly.
I mean, or just a girl's girl. You never know.
Girl's girl.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe somebody's husband wasn't great.
Well, it's giving nobody no crime.
Oh yeah,
100%. That the song feels very Appalachian to me.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
Goes with Goodbye Earl.
Yes,
they're friends.
Exactly. Foxfire Book from 1972 is a landmark oral history project by Appalachian high school students. They devoted significant pages to folk magic, evidence that this tradition persisted well into the 20th century. So even past when you would
see, I'm not crazy. So when I was a little girl,
it was there. Exactly.
Maybe this lady was real.
Yes,
the high schoolers weren't trying to scare us.
We were born in the 20th century.
Oh,
young people. Okay,
sorry. Would love to have a side part right now, but I don't.
I'm from the 1900s.
Yeah.
So I think again, this triple goddess thing it feels very related to the granny witch.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. she's like the crone. The
granny
crone,
witch
gives
sure.
the crone archetype, the wise elder who stands in the threshold of life and death, where she sort of she's got the control here.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, she is Hecate with a Bible.
That's such a funny sentence.
It's so good. The Bible in one hand and the black cohosh in the other, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like her erasure from official history mirrors what has happened to the goddess
traditions. Yeah.
It's to name her in this episode is like we're reclaiming her to like being part of history.
I like the Granny Witch.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think she serves such an amazing purpose in such a hard place to be that it's hard not to recognize her importance.
Yeah. And again, I think there are women like this throughout history that we see, usually women who worked in, I'm going to say medicine.
Medicine, yeah. Medicine of the time.
Were absolutely overlooked and villainized.
Well, because when things didn't go right, then it was a problem. And so they had to have somebody to blame.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, we're seeing this pretty early here. And it's going to it keeps coming up. Yeah. So we'll get into our Salem friends later.
Oh, yes.
At a later point.
We should definitely do that.
But yeah, before the monsters, we need to talk about the dead.
Yeah.
So because in Appalachian tradition, they never quite leave.
Ooh, spooky.
So Haints and the architecture of the dead. So I know we mentioned them a little bit before, but a haint is taken from the Appalachian pronunciation of haunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just is like a pronunciation thing. And they are a restless spirit.
Okay.
Not a demon, not a monster.
So not necessarily bad, just restless.
But the unquiet dead. You will know that they're not happy, that they're not fully gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
A grievance unsettled, a secret untold. And they come back not to destroy, but as like means of communication, like to communicate this. Like scratching on the walls and moving objects, appearing at the foot of the bed. So
really don't like that.
These are the childhood like
spooky tales.
Yeah, like that you tell around the campfire and, Yeah,
the proper response isn't to be afraid. It's to pay attention.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what do they want?
What do you want?
Yeah, what do you want? Like, why are you here?
That is not my response.
I think.
But I can see why it would be.
I wonder if it is like a thing where a child like
would be like
out of curiosity would be like,
why are you here? Yeah.
Why?
Why are you in my bedroom?
Yeah. What's going on here? I don't know. Whereas an adult might react out of fear. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Or maybe it's to like make the kids not afraid.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, maybe it's both. Like that's how you
like an in-between situation.
Yeah. So maybe that's why they're telling them if that's how the quote unquote story goes, then maybe that's what it's for.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Haints Blue is a real color, and it is still used in the American South and Appalachia to this day. The pale, dusty, like blue-green, painted on porch ceilings, window frames, and door frames to confuse Haints.
Which is super interesting because I've never heard of it having a specific purpose, but I've definitely noticed it as like a common thread living in the South. You do see it. But I had no idea it actually had a purpose. Like, I thought that's so interesting.
I genuinely was just like, wow, people like blue here.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
That's what I thought, too.
I don't even know. I don't know if my parents even thought anything about it. I don't know. Maybe they did, or maybe someone told them. But
like for somebody who grew up predominantly in South Florida, which is very like different mix of people, when I moved to Atlanta, I definitely saw a lot of different things that were common, right?
Yeah.
And that was like something that not so much in the city, but when you like drive out into the mountains, like in North Georgia, you start to see things like, why is it blue? Why is everything like painted blue? And well, there you go. It's the foothills of the Appalachians.
True. If you go and look at any old farmhouse in the mountains,
they all have it.
They have a blue porch.
Everybody.
Or like a blue-gray, blue-green.
Yeah, it's like not like robin's egg, but kind of.
But it kind of is. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
They're blue.
So the reason that they're painted this color is because the spirit can't distinguish between the sky and the water. So both of which the Haints can't cross. So if they see that color, that's why they're not going through those passageways or getting onto the porch.
It's like a mind trick.
It's a mind trick on the ghost. So that to me is so interesting because you're like, oh, there's such purpose. But again, we're thinking it's just, oh, people like the color blue. And
I mean, seriously.
No,
because it was so common, like driving through like the area, the neighborhood specifically that I lived in. Yeah. That now I'm like,
whoa!
Oh man!
Everybody thought there were ghosts around.
How spooky was this place?
Yeah, I'm sure as a kid too, if it, not thinking of it that way, you're like,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
We even had ours painted.
Oh, yeah.
Fun. Yeah. Well, here we are.
Yeah.
Appalachian death traditions are elaborate and deeply communal. So sitting with the body, covering mirrors so the soul doesn't get trapped in its own reflection. Yeah, we see this with mirrors.
Yeah.
Stopping clocks at the moment of death, opening windows to let the spirit out. So many of these things, and now, like I'm like,
oh my god,
why did we do? Now I know. I think as a kid, I just really didn't think anything of it.
Probably,
I was just like, oh yeah, this is what we do.
Yeah, I could see that because you don't question it when you're that young. You know,
I questioned everything though, but I was just rolling with it. I was like, yeah, this feels right. Yeah. Oh no,
you should have known then. That
I should have. Yeah, okay.
So. Black dogs also appear repeatedly as omen figures across Appalachian lore. Large, dark, sometimes glowing-eyed, seen before a death in the family. Scholars connect them to the Celtic Coochie and the British black shuck traditions brought over from the Scots and Irish settlers. It's interesting because that's like something that could be a common thing, like if somebody had a pet or some kind of animal that's like just in the woods. It could be a wolf. It could be. It might not even be anything scary. Yeah, it might just be an animal that you can't explain, right? Yep. And that's what they just go black dog. Meanwhile, it couldn't even. Maybe it's not a dog. You know.
Well, I mean, we also saw this with like the black cat. I mean, there are lots of I don't want to go superstition here. I want to stick with our lore, but the black dog is definitely an omen that we see other places. So
for sure. The screech owl is also a common death omen. Hearing one near your house at night means someone close to you is going to die within the week. Preventions include turning your shoes upside down, pulling your pockets inside out, and tying knots into your apron string. So again, like, you have all of these little things that seem trivial to somebody on the outside, but they really believe this. Like, it's something that probably everybody, like you were saying, like everybody did it, so I didn't even think anything about it. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so integral to the community.
The community dimension is crucial here. These death belief systems kept neighbors like checking in on each other, and
kind of like we were saying with like the banshee, like it's not a bad thing to have the warning signs. It's a good thing.
It's meant to be helpful,
right? Yeah.
So maybe that the individual wouldn't die alone,
right? Or like be forgotten. You know, that's like, that's probably something that unfortunately happened more than you would like it to.
Yeah, it just is where your houses were not right up on each other like they are now. Exactly. So like you really wouldn't know.
Yeah,
in a lot of these instances, unless it was announced.
And now our distance is like more emotional. Like I know my neighbors are very close by, but I don't know if I would know if they died necessarily because I'm not connected in the same way. I'm in a new house, so not my fault. But
I think neighborhoods are structured differently now, where you don't necessarily get to know your neighbors in that way.
You don't have to, because you have outside that direct neighborhood resource.
Yeah, the communities just aren't operating in the same way.
So the dead in Appalachian traditions were not absent. They were present in a different register. This is word logic, Morgan logic, Hecate. The boundary between the living and the dead is porous, and the wisdom flows both ways. Oh, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, the granny witch who could speak to the dead was not transgressing. She was doing her job. Yeah. I mean, it's all really, I love looking at it as if the between is porous.
Yeah.
I think that translates into what we were saying about our liminal goddesses.
Yeah. So sure. Well, and this whole idea of like Haints are restless, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a porous in between, then they are able to get to us. It's not a scary thing. They are able to get to us without it being a haunting, if you will, in a traditional sense, right? You're not here because you want to do harm. You're here because you're just trying to tell somebody something, right?
Or like
inform.
Close
it's
like meant to be tying of loose ends, right?
Exactly. So speaking of hauntings, yikes.
This is a pretty good one. So we have the Bell Witch, which is America's most documented haunting.
So you would think a documented haunting would come from somewhere like the Northeast, just because it's so much older, right?
Yeah, I think
establishment-wise,
Yeah, I think maybe for this, it is more of where the Bell Witch comes up so consistently, and people were so terrified that it proceeds on, right? And it lives on in that way. So it begins in 1817 on a prosperous farm in Robertson County, Tennessee. So along the Red River, south of the Kentucky line. John Bell had moved his family here from North Carolina. He was a well-regarded farmer, a deacon in the Red River Baptist Church, a man of standing. For 13 years, nothing unusual occurred. Then, in the summer of 1817, John Bell came across a strange animal at the edge of his cornfield, described as having a dog's body and a rabbit's head.
Weird.
He fired at it. It vanished.
What followed would consume the Bell family for the next 4 years. It began as sounds, knocking on the walls, gnawing sounds, chains dragging across the floor. It then became physical, invisible hands pinching and slapping family members in the night. Hair pulled so hard Betsy Bell, John's youngest daughter, was left with handprints on her skin. Then it found a voice that could quote scripture.
Don't yell Bible scripture at me.
A voice that hated John Bell with a particular personal viciousness, and the voice called itself Kate. I don't like it.
Well, I think I can guess what happened here, but we'll keep going.
Yeah, this is definitely
this is giving
horror movie.
This is
The haunting became famous across the entire Tennessee frontier. Hundreds camped on the Bell property, hoping to witness Kate. Andrew Jackson himself, then a general, not yet president, reportedly visited and was driven away in the night. So even he was afraid. John Bell's physical condition collapsed. He became bedridden, and on December 20th, 1820, he was found dead with a vial of strange liquid beside him. The Bell Witch openly claimed credit for his death and reportedly sang drinking songs at his funeral. After John's death, the entity activity faded and then ceased. Tennessee remains the only state to have officially recognized a person's death being attributed to a supernatural. That is wild. Yes, you have things to say.
I don't believe it.
No?
No, I don't.
Okay, what do you think?
It's not good for us. I'm sorry.
No. No, what do you think? I need to know.
Here's the thing. It's giving that he made like the wrong girl mad.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Poison. Somebody's poisoned.
Kate. You know?
Yeah. It's conveniently
It's giving
vague.
Yeah. And maybe she was a part of that church or like
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
It feels like maybe he made the wrong witchy girl mad.
I think so. Yeah, I mean it definitely feels mad woman.
Yeah.
I definitely it makes a very good story, but I don't know if I don't know if I fully believe it's a ghost. There's too much that's like explainable.
Yeah.
This is why I don't watch horror movies, because I'm like, I don't like watching them.
Oh, well, I'm the person that...
And then I decode everything as I go, and I'm like, no, I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, you can ask
it's not
Brad.
even fun anymore.
It's not, Brad's like, no, this isn't good. I'm going to watch this on my own. Yeah. I'm like, fine. You do that.
Yeah. I mean, I sit and watch The Witcher like this. I'll put it that way.
I'm okay with The Witcher, but
the monster part, but I don't like them. They're spooky.
They're not real, so I'm just like, this is fine.
It depends on how into it I am, I guess.
Yeah, just it feels very like this well thought of man made a bad decision.
Yeah, definitely.
And made the wrong person, the wrong girl mad.
Yeah. I mean, so the legend was first written down in detail in 1894 by newspaper editor Martin Ingram. drawn from a manuscript account by the Bell family members entitled Our Family's Trouble. Again, this feels very like, I don't know. The 77-year gap between the events and the documentation is significant because it's oral tradition first, right?
Yeah.
So it is folklore.
Yeah. And that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the Kate identity, local tradition holds that Kate was Kate Batts, a neighbor of John Bell's with whom he had a land dispute.
Probably more than a land dispute.
Oh, I think he had a love affair.
Something else. What else is going to make her that mad?
Exactly.
I'm just saying it's not land.
No. Women don't care.
Yeah.
Not really. The folklore layers are richer. Kate is also connected to a witch figure, a spurned woman, an ancient grievance. The name functions mythologically as well as historically.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's how it feels.
It does.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting too is that like this entity is torturing the patriarch of the family and not the women.
I got the little girl.
Yeah.
I pulled her hair.
Hang on.
And left marks on her.
Yeah, so but again, so if she's the one that receives the most of the abuse, it's still him that dies though. That's the target.
That's true. Yeah,
he's trying to do like she may have injured
she's just
her
shaking
toots.
him up. Yeah.
Yeah, to make him scared. Like that's his
Rattling
youngest child, right?
Yeah.
So that's who the ghost
Make
is
me
gonna
mad.
go for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't touch my OE.
Yeah.
The Bell Witch Cave in Adams, Tennessee still draws visitors and the land is considered haunted. This legend is alive in the community and it's not archived, it's inhabited. Like it's part of that specific
They really, really believe this.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
I think that's something that makes it fun about these people is that it's very, very true and real to them.
Yeah.
And so it's just such a part of their like culture at this point.
Yeah.
Kate as entity is fascinating goddess logic. She is described as knowing scripture better than the preacher, predicting the future accurately, speaking from everywhere at once, outlasting the most powerful man in the county.
Yeah.
She is a force of feminine vengeance and ancient knowing. Not unlike the Morrigan appearing to a king before battle.
Yeah.
The community's response to her, awe, deference, fear, and never quite dismissal, tells us everything about how Appalachia understood supernatural feminine power.
Yeah.
Yeah, she still serves as a warning, right? She's still feared.
Yeah.
And that's why she still is like that cave is still like a haunted spot to go visit, right?
Yeah,
a touristy
definitely.
place, if you will.
Well, and it's interesting too, like a cave, like this, again, like liminal feeling space, right?
Yeah.
Like the cave to the underworld in Greek, like in Greece is like it's literally a cave where like Persephone went to the underworld. Like, so it feels very Hecate-ish too, you know, like this liminal goddess threshold thing. Yeah. So it's interesting they like put it in this cave. Like that's where they've deemed the spot, you know, because that's not where they lived, you know? So interesting, right?
Yeah.
I guess maybe the house
like
is probably not there anymore.
Right. But like I'm sure it has something to do with like that's just a spooky liminal spot.
Oh yeah.
Like someone told them like, hey, this
is where the Bell Witch
is.
Yeah.
So I mean there are many other creatures in these mountains.
Yeah.
Appalachian creature lore is not just scary stories. Almost every monster is a moral instruction. And most have indigenous roots that got tangled up with European additions.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Wampus Cat, which sounds kind of weird by the name alone, right? But
I love the word wampus. I love it. It's so good.
Like it. I don't know what it is.
Catty wampus. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I picture in my head. And I'm just like, oh, it's a cat. Where they're like all it's another funny word. And it's like discombobulated. Like if you're cattywampus, you're crooked.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
you're not quite
you're
not quite right.
In what is now the Cherokee homeland of western North Carolina, a village was being terrorized by a demon known as the Spirit of Madness, Iwa. The village's strongest warriors were sent to destroy it, and he failed. His wife, grief-maddened, and furious, refused the council's decision to let Iwa go unchallenged. She disguised herself in the pelt of a mountain cat, crept close to the demon, and by one version defeated it through cunning rather than force. She transformed, half woman, half cat, living in the forest forever in the forest. The cat, I almost said cattywampus.
Well,
the Wampus Cat is still reported in the mountain counties of Tennessee, North Carolina, and Kentucky. She screams like a woman in grief, and she appears at the edge of firelight, and she is not to be provoked. Wow. I love that. She went full on like Mulan.
She was like, yeah, I'm gonna deal with this myself.
If you're not gonna let me, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do not care. Yeah.
It also gives like early shapeshifter vibes, right?
Yeah,
of like she sort of took on this other form
in order
by
to
wearing
like,
the pelt of
yeah. I love
so it's
that.
interesting. I like it.
Yeah, like gives her this like animalistic strength.
Yeah.
Outside of like her own feelings. Like she's driven by that initially and then has like this super quote unquote superhuman because she's part cat. Like
yeah. Also from Cherokee tradition is Spearfinger. Spearfinger is among the most terrifying figures in Appalachian folklore. She is an ancient crone whose skin is like stone. No spear or arrow can pierce her. On her right hand grows one long, sharp finger like a spear. I'm already like picturing the finger down the chalkboard.
Ew, don't like it.
She disguises herself as a kind old woman, befriends children, offers to pick lice from their hair or braid it.
Well, she has the long finger.
And while they relax in her hands, she drives that finger through their body, carves out their liver, and eats it. The only way to kill her is to strike her right hand, the source of her power. Cherokee storyteller Kathy Littlejohn has kept this story alive as active oral tradition, not fossil legend.
It feels very Hansel and Gretel-y.
It does. Well, and also just again, that screeching sound of the claw down a wall or on a bed frame or whatever it is, I mean, throughout any spooky story or movie or show, it's like you hear that or see that one finger with the claw come out and you're like, no, I'm out. I don't like this.
For sure.
It hurts my brain.
Yeah, don't like that. So then you also have the Rawhead and Bloody Bones, which is from Scottish-Irish origin. And this is like a boogeyman figure who lives under the stairs or at the bottom of the ponds, which is interesting. But it's a warning to children against going near water unsupervised. So again, like a functional mythology, right? Yeah. It serves a purpose, right?
Yep. And again, I mean, we have the moon-eyed people. So again, Cherokee. Who were small, pale beings with enormous eyes who could only see at night. Some accounts say they were driven underground, echoed in folklore about the little people found in Celtic, Cherokee, and West African traditions, simultaneously suggesting either ancient cultural contact or the commonality of certain human fears about what lives in dark places.
Yeah, I guess that one's like a little bit more like just what lurks in the dark.
Again, I think that
are you afraid of the dark? Yeah.
You see the eyes in the forest and you're like,
what is that?
No.
Meanwhile, it's probably just some kind of creature.
A lightning bug.
Lightning bug. I think it's always explaining the unexplainable, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at here. Yeah, and the Brown Mountain Lights, mysterious lights in North Carolina, right, that have appeared for centuries, reported by Cherokee colonists and modern-day hikers alike. Explanations go from UFOs to natural methane venting to ghosts of the great battle between the Cherokee and Kawaba nations. The persistence of the lights across centuries make them genuinely mythological, and they just can't be fully explained away. So that's an interesting one to me because we still can't figure it out, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there are some things and some pieces of these mountains that we really still to this day don't
see,
understand and won't see.
It's a feeling that you get when you're there. I 100% see that. And the people that live there are very much like, nope, this is just how it is. And you're like,
and
what
leave
do you
it
mean?
alone. They're like, this is how it is, and we leave it alone.
Yeah.
And it speaks to sort of, again, this mutual respect idea between the mountains and the land. Mountains, land, people, right?
Yeah. Well, and just like, it's not even meant to be directly scary, right? Like they're meant to keep you from doing something that can get you hurt or get you killed, right? So they're not intrinsically meant to be scary. They're just meant to tell an interesting story that you remember.
Yeah.
And therefore don't forget the lesson that they're trying to teach.
Definitely. I mean, travelers, children.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, again, what we see, these creatures constantly occupy threshold spaces of our liminal spaces, forest edges, water's edge, the dark between settlements.
Yeah.
They mark the boundary between the known world and the unknown. The same liminal space the granny witch navigated by trade.
Yeah.
Like she was just comfortable in those spaces. Yeah.
Again.
It's
more and more comes up. More feels that way, right?
I don't think I had thought about it
as deeply
this way until doing this episode, but it makes so much sense to me. And now I'm like,
now every shaman is a triple goddess.
It's very cool.
Yeah, for sure. So not everything in tradition is a shadow, right? The Jack Tales are Appalachian mythology's joy, irreverent heartbeat. And they're older than the mountains feel.
So what's fun for me is I wanted to name Owen Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's a second born child. Sure. And he's just, him, he's a little feisty. Yep. He's a little tricky,
He's scrappy.
And he fits this so well. And I loved reading these because I was like, wow, that's my child.
Yep.
Didn't name him appropriately. Nope. I tried. My husband didn't like the name. No, or Owen would be Jack.
Yeah.
But these Jack Tales they're just fun. They're fun stories. Jack is a young man, always young, always poor, usually the third and least likely son. Oh, well.
Sorry.
Okay, I don't like that for Owen necessarily, but I mean that's just kind of. It's more like they have to be scrappy. That's I was going to say
they're more like It's more like they're not the firstborn. I think that's what they mean by that. But yeah, I understand. I don't love that.
No. Who goes out into the world with nothing but his wits and a refusal to take the situation seriously. All right, well, there it is. Yeah. There's Owen.
There it is. Yeah.
He outwits giants. He cheats the devil. He stumbles into fortunes and falls out of them and finds better ones.
Yeah.
He is not heroic in the classical sense. He doesn't have Hercules' muscles or Achilles' pride. He wins by being cleverer than everyone who underestimates him.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
That's what making
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Yeah. I mean,
Jack kind of is always that kind of way.
And everyone always underestimates him.
Yeah.
English and Scottish immigrants brought Jack with them to the Appalachians in the 18th century. He's the same Jack as Jack and the Beanstalk, transplanted into the mountain hollers and given a drawl and a penchant for cornbread.
He became Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah, it's so funny. I just think, again, we see it, this trickster character throughout
which is meant to give like comic relief, but also tell you something important.
Seriousness of,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the older surviving folk tales, and I think there's probably a reason to that, mainly because of this connection to Western Europe, because it's just something we've heard so many ways, but it feels familiar, so it's easy to like continue that on, right?
Yeah.
But also like the fact that it like has evolved in Appalachia specifically to like be more relatable to that region. It's like it's just a cool another level, right?
Yeah, it's like the giant doesn't really live in the clouds.
No,
he just lives really high up, maybe on a mountain ledge, where it looks like he's in the clouds.
Right, yeah. And this tradition is also primarily an oral tradition. So again, folklore, right? And the way that they're told matters as much as they're told. Voice, timing, audience response, and repetition are all built into this form. So this bardic tradition, right? Again,
Yay.
the bard is back.
Yeah.
In exactly the sense that we use the term for the Morrigan or for Taylor Swift, right? It's very
Yeah, the bard was such a good way to carry on these stories, and Jack gets to be, I mean, like I said, I don't know why I know all of this from Jack be nimble,
Yeah,
Jack
you
be quick,
just know it
Jack
from
jump over the
people.
candlestick, and
Yeah,
there's a whole like little nursery rhyme.
totally.
I think that we see this in stories a lot, and the reason I remember it is because it's a song.
Yeah,
It's like a
totally.
little story.
Yeah, and like we were saying, he's a trickster. Like that's what his function is, right?
Yeah.
Adjacent to the Anansi or the coyote or Loki, right? The Appalachian trickster is specifically the poor man who survives in an unjust world through intelligence rather than virtue. That's not accident of geography. It's like a theologic.
Like how to
It's how
survive.
you survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, and it relates so well to the area itself.
It does. Yeah.
Because in a different place, it would look different, just like how the coyote looks different from Jack.
Yeah.
Just to
Same,
throw it back to the last episode.
right. So I think it's important to remember that the Appalachian folklore is not dead history.
Right.
So this is very much a current breathing mythology.
Right.
It's still very much a part of the culture in these areas.
Right. Which is maybe a contrast from our last episode where we're talking about stories that are tied to the land, but they're not necessarily vocalized anymore the way that they were by the people who live there. They may still be talked about, but their people have been displaced, right? So in this case, everybody's still where they used to be.
So where I can go back to my old little town.
Yeah.
They have a Walmart now.
Yeah.
But, and the people are also living there.
Yeah.
And I love those people. It's, but they are all still living there.
Totally. Yeah. So Appalachian folklore has been systemically mocked, caricatured, and dismissed in mainstream American culture as like this hillbilly archetype. And it does enormous damage. Like it's not encompassing everything that this place has to offer, right? I mean, I think we've talked about enough in this episode. There's so many layers to the type of people that are here and the influences that were given that making them just these like hillbilly people that are kind of dumb
or maybe people who just don't think or go about things the same way that other people do. It doesn't mean that you're hillbilly or like backwards.
Yeah, they just go about it different.
It's just a different system of beliefs, and the culture that built these beliefs holds value too.
And it doesn't come from nowhere. Like I think that sometimes people assume that something that is backwards is just their own making, and this is much more layered and complex. So I think to just flatten them that way is just not, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
It's easy to make this caricature of them, but it's not, it doesn't serve them well by any means.
Yeah. Again, it's just misunderstood in that way. I mean, I don't think that you would go to Scotland or Ireland and call them hillbillies. Like it's not, it's very different. So
it's a wonder as to why they do that.
Foundationally, it's very similar.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think we wanted to try to treat this as like seriously as we do anything that is a mythology, right? Or these stories are just as important.
So every culture we see in Appalachia builds mythology from the shape of its landscape and the texture of its fear. Appalachian folklore is what happens when you take the loneliest mountains in America, fill them with people who crossed an ocean carrying the oldest stories in the world, and leave them there for 300 years, right? Like it just, and
that paints such a good picture of
it. And those people meshed with the people who were already there.
Yeah.
And it just became such a rich.
Well, like we were saying, it becomes such a good example of what America could be.
Yeah.
And that maybe we've gone too far away from, because it's such a good melded combination.
Yeah.
And that they had no other option but to do that, right?
So work together for survival.
I think a lot of places they might have done that initially, but has gone so far from it that it becomes very divided up and problematic.
And we see division in this area.
Sure. I mean, you're going
we
to.
get pretty close.
Yeah.
We start talking about like the Civil War,
Of course. Yeah.
But that's not folklore mythology.
No,
so we won't do that.
No.
Yeah. So I mean, we do start to see some division, but as a whole,
I think it's more the stories are still pretty blended, which I think is what's interesting. Because they, like you said, that they're so intrinsic to the people still that they find value in it regardless of whether that is still the true existence of that place.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's still stories that are...
Their value still holds regardless of whether they're still as united as they were when they began, right?
Yeah. I think it just speaks to the pride of those people and where they came from, and they still value those things. I mean, it's also just very similar to what we talked about last week, how Appalachian folklore understands things that our modern culture really has forgotten.
Yeah.
And that is that their survival depends on their relationship to the land, to their land, to the community, and to this sort of communal memory, to the unseen rules that keep people safe. Because one of the defining ideas underneath Appalachian folklore is that humans are not separate from nature, that they're sort of like, again, they have to work together. It's a mutual respect that is required to survive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the mountains don't care if you feel powerful. The wilderness doesn't care how advanced you are, how advanced you think society has gotten. The nature is older than us and larger than us and not fully knowable in the way that we would hope to, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes Appalachian folklore the way it is, right? And it never really lets people forget all of those things. And that's why these stories have, revolved around respect, that it's so important to respect those boundaries within your own area, right?
Yeah.
Respect for the woods, respect for nighttime, respect for boundaries created by those things, right? And places that you don't understand. You don't want to, you have to have a respect there. If you start crossing into things that you don't know without, just however you want, you're going to have problems. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's again, I like going back to this, is that knowledge is power. And so with that comes respect what you don't know.
Yeah.
If you can't fully understand why there are lights in the mountains,
leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. Just say, okay,
exactly.
This is something I can't change. Fine.
I mean, the rules in folklore are rarely arbitrary, right?
Yeah.
They just, they often have something wrapped in it that has to do with survival. It's not just out of nowhere. And that's why they have survived for as long as they have.
Yeah. I mean, even talking to my sister about Appalachian folklore is like, she knows, like, don't look up and if you hear your name, no, you didn't. Don't go walk it. Like, you will not, I can guarantee you, I could not get her to hike with me.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, nope.
Yep.
Nope. Not doing it.
So
not
funny.
Even going to risk it.
That's so funny. Yeah, and it's also just the simple idea of don't assume that this land owes you anything.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
And it doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to itself, and that you're part of this ecosystem.
Right.
Because folklore recognizes something that modern culture often struggles with. Arrogance can be dangerous.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where people fall into problems. It's just, it's the fern gully of it all.
I mean, arrogance in any situation can be dangerous.
True.
So
I hate it. Yep.
There is a balance that should go along with
For
arrogance.
sure.
And when you lack that, it's a problem.
Yep.
And what's fascinating is that many of these stories aren't really about monsters at all. They're about relationship.
Yeah, I mean, the consequence of disconnect or forgetting this humility, right? Moving through the world as though humans fully control it. I mean, that's why they're so relatable, right? We have created this emotional distance and physical distance from the natural world. Like I said at the beginning, we're not even in the woods anymore, right? Like we make it so constructed by us at this point that even the woods feel like not the woods anymore, right?
And I wonder, like most of me, it's like a control thing for man, right?
100%. It's to make us feel better.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
When in reality, I think like the opposite should be true.
Yeah.
Where we feel we've just lost that connection, I think. And that's what the real issue is.
Yeah. I mean, I think we lack that relationship. So it becomes, the mountains are a pretty photo backdrop. They're not actually, we're not tied to them in any way other than that, right?
Yeah.
Landscapes become something consumed rather than something lived within.
Yeah.
And Appalachian folklore remembers that this older view of the land isn't passive. We're part of it. That these places carry memory and that they survive. That survival depends on understanding them or understanding them as something bigger than yourself.
Which I think is just, there's something really goddess behavior about recognizing that real power is not domination. Yeah. It's a relationship. It's a balance. Yeah. Even now, people still instinctively feel that some places remember things, and maybe folklore survives because part of us still believes that too.
I agree.
And I feel like, that's how I feel. I wish maybe more people felt that way.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I
think understanding your environment is so important.
It is, yeah.
And I have felt that a lot more in my adulthood of like understanding where I am and how important that is to like how you live, right? Because when you live in a different place all the time, like me,
I was
like
gonna say that's
that matter,
why.
I think you become very hyper aware of how things are different or the same or,
Yeah. No, truly. I think that it's something that I've become, and I'm sure you too, become hyper aware of when I live in a new place is I really try to understand where I am and why people, and why people
act the way they
are the way they are. Yeah. Like even West Coast to East Coast, right? I think that the people are vastly different.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. I'm an East Coast girl.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to just say that.
Yeah.
But I liked having the knowledge about where I was and maybe understanding why the people are the way that they are.
Yeah.
And every place that I live in because
and I think that's why we are drawn to these topics in general of mythology and folklore because it speaks so much to why people are this way.
Truly.
And what they believe influences how they are, right? And where they are. The place that they're in says so much about that too.
Absolutely.
And even within our own country, so different from one end to the other.
Yeah. And our country is different in that way, I think, where it's very culturally different between the North and the South and the East and the West. And definitely. You're not going to, Kansas is not like North Carolina, it just, so we have a lot of diverse areas. And so it's important, even within our own country, to sort of understand
like you
your
have to look
local,
at it
the local people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, what folklore or superstition did you grow up hearing that still sticks with you now?
And do you think stories like these exist to scare us or protect us? I mean, I love a good mixture of both. I want to be a little scared, but also enough to where I want to look into it. Yeah. Where I'm like, oh, okay, why?
It intrigues.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have to bring that up in our next episode because I got to think about it. I can't come up with one off the top of my head. I will have to think on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are plenty of superstitions around. I think.
Yes, I agree. I think that maybe that one will be easier for me to pin down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we have today. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow Goddess Behavior and leave a review. It helps other legendary mortals find us.
Questions are always welcome. No oracle required.
Stay bold.
Stay curious.
That's Goddess Behavior.